Hello and welcome, everybody. Today we are talking about vulnerability and how it can both be an incredibly attractive quality for us to embody in our lives, and sometimes it can actually be something that pushes people away from us and it can be perceived as unattractive. And this subject was inspired by a question I got on a YouTube video a couple of days ago from someone. I'm going to paraphrase their situation and their question. Um, I believe, a young man who identifies as a sensitive, um, emotionally deep person, and his experience as a sensitive man who's connected to his feelings and his tenderness and his vulnerability, his experience has been that oftentimes women are unattracted to that, and they're more attracted to the stoic alpha male type. And so he has this conflict of, well, my sensitivity seems like this incredibly fundamental, important part of myself, and yet people are put off by it. And so there's this conflict between feeling like one doesn't want to disown something so fundamental and just the recognition that, damn, it kind of sucks that women actually, in his particular situation, his experience is that women are more interested in men who are less emotionally oriented, who are more stoic, who are that kind of alpha male type. Um, and it was such a interesting comment and such an interesting situation. It got me thinking about my own experiences on this level, and I just wanted to share briefly today a little bit about my experiences and what I've learned in my life in the last few years in this area. And I've got a story to share that happened about 2 years ago. And at the time, there was a young woman who I became very interested in. And it's actually pretty rare for me to develop like a big crush on a woman. Doesn't happen very often. So when it does, it's this momentous occasion. And like the person who left the comment on that video, I'm quite an emotionally oriented, sensitive man, and my feelings are not far from my awareness at any given moment. So, this woman is someone who was an acquaintance that I would cross paths with regularly. And over time, I mean, initially I was just very moved by her presence. She had something about her that captivated me. And I was so drawn to her. I was like, oh man, I have to talk to this person. I have to get to know her and see if what I'm feeling plays out as some kind of chemistry or connection. So slowly I started saying hello, we started having conversations, and we ended up hanging out. I worked up the courage to ask her if she wanted to hang out. We hung out several times, and over this period, my excitement and infatuation or interest in connecting with her grew and grew, and this kind of emotive, passionate tenderness in me was so excited. I was like, wow, this person is so cool. I'm getting to know her, and this is so exciting, and it's making me feel so excited to get to know her more. And normally, I'm a pretty transparent person with my feelings, especially in the context of like someone that I'm interested in romantically. And as I got to know this person more, we spent some time together. I kept on feeling this kind of trembling excitement and all of these emotions inside. And they just wanted to share with her that they thought she was really awesome. I'm so excited to get to know you more. And kind of just share all of this excitement. Um, but every time I started to move in that direction, when I kind of started to vaguely step in that direction of like really open, raw, emotive sharing, something stopped me. There was a wall up every time I was about to kind of like gush the feelings that I was feeling. That wall blocked it from happening. And it seemed to me at the time like the wall was something that the woman had. Like, I felt like if I shared all that I was feeling, she would run in the other direction. And that might be because the feelings weren't reciprocated, or she just wasn't comfortable with that level of transparency or vulnerability, or some combination of the two. I didn't know. All I knew is that every time I started walking in that direction of super open emotional sharing, I got stopped for like on some kind of intuitive level. And so I just held it in. I held these feelings in across like a month and a half of us occasionally connecting, going for a walk here or there. And oh, it was agony initially because this sensitivity, this joy and excitement that was awakened by this woman, it just wanted to share everything. There was this insecurity it felt not knowing if the feelings were reciprocated, and it just wanted to share how it was feeling so it could know, so that it could receive some kind of validation or clarity. And again, I just kept on getting stopped. And um something really extraordinary happened because of that, because I had to restrain myself from this impulsive emotional sharing. And in that restraint, I discovered a few things about what I was feeling. One is, like I said, there was this insecurity, a neediness that I felt because all of the excitement I was feeling, all of the emotions I was experiencing, a part of me wanted her to validate them. A part of me wanted her to nurture, support, to hold the vulnerability that I was experiencing that had been awakened um, by my attraction to her. And because I kept on getting stopped, because I could feel that me sharing my vulnerability would push her away, I had to just be with it. I had to just contain it. And it was this extraordinary opportunity to look at it honestly and to see, wow, these feelings are so beautiful, but I can see how they're kind of needy. I can see this clinginess, this attachment to validation from someone outside of me. And I can feel these feelings. I feel quite disempowered when I'm feeling them. It's like they're weak and they are just thirsty for acceptance and validation from the outside. They're thirsty for a hand to hold them. And by being alone with them, I have this opportunity to learn how to hold them for myself, to be able to calmly say, look, you're okay, man. It's beautiful what you're feeling, but it's time for us to learn how to hold this for ourselves. And my sense was that one of the reasons I kept on feeling that woman pull back whenever I started sharing my feelings vulnerably is that she might have subconsciously or consciously felt the intensity of my neediness, the intensity of my vulnerability, wanting her to hold it in some way. And she was like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel good, which is very fair because it's not really it wouldn't have actually been serving me in some way because um, there was a kind of a weakness or a dependence or a reliance on someone else that I don't really know to take care of these feelings that are mine to take care of. And by her pulling back and me being alone with the feelings, I did get to explore holding them for myself. And eventually that woman kind of just disappeared. It wasn't exactly a ghosting, but it was something kind of like that. We made plans to hang out on several occasions, and she would just kind of like wouldn't respond to texts, and it was so triggering to that insecurity in me. And that insecurity was just wailing in the agony of not being validated or wanted. And my adult consciousness, the grown up Miles, was like, this is perfect. Life couldn't have constructed this better, because it's it's kind of really showing me um, this opportunity to take care of my vulnerability instead of letting it use somebody else to take care of it, letting it kind of bring all of its baggage and be like, hey, can you take care of this? Letting it bring its insecurity to somebody else and say, hey, can you validate me? Letting it project its light and power onto a woman and saying, hey, do you see my light and power? I don't know if I'm articulating it perfectly, but one of the things that experience was just a demonstration of was that when I hold my feelings, my emotions, my vulnerability, myself, when I learn how to contain that, nurture that, and support that, I can bring it into relationships and I can bring it into the world in a very different way. I can bring it in a way where there can be an ownership of all of these feelings, this deep sensitive nature, and there can be this openness and honesty without needing someone to give me some kind of unconditional, complete, perfect love, without needing someone to, you know, fully take care of it or hold it for me. And then I've noticed that when I bring that vulnerability into the world and have this expectation on others that, or this desire for them to take care of it for me, that can push people away, and that can just feed something in me that's disempowering. And and even though it can feel good in the short term, there's something so beautiful about learning to do it for myself. Not to be this incredibly stoic, emotionally distant person, but just to have a capacity for self nurture and self love so that I can bring that honesty to others in a cleaner, clearer way. And I can love others in a cleaner, clearer way. And it's certainly not something I've mastered. It's something I'm continually learning about. But it's to me, I guess my sensitivity and my vulnerability, what I do with them really determines if they are something that's incredibly empowering and enlivening and enriching to my relationships and attractive to others, or if it's something that pushes others away or makes me feel disempowered. It's what I do with all of those feelings, what I do with my vulnerability, that determines which direction it goes in. And like I said, haven't mastered it. It's an ongoing journey and one that I'm very grateful to be on. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can like it. If you're on YouTube, you can comment, you can subscribe, you can share it with people that you love. And if you're interested in my book, How to Open the Heart, An Incredible Journey into Vulnerability, Empathy, and the Transformation of Consciousness, there's links in the description. And until next time, I hope that you have a beautiful day.